Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Let's Talk. Today we'll be covering WoW's newest UI addition, the Cooldown Manager. The Cooldown Manager could be one of the best UI additions we've ever seen to World of Warcraft, but right now, it's just not there yet. Today we're digging into what Blizzard got right, where things completely missed the mark, and what needs to change before the midnight pre-patch hits. Let's talk. You can see how my UI has progressed over the years, but starting in Warlords of Draenor, I shifted to the design I use today. I prioritize a clean, informational, and functional interface. Nothing flashy, just something that gives me exactly what I need and exactly where I want it. So why use a HUD instead of an action bar? It's simple. When you have to look down at your action bars, you're not watching the fight. You're not dodging fire, you're not interrupting, and you're not reacting to mechanics. WeakAuras took this a step further by allowing ease of customization and extensive personalization. But now, with Midnight, Blizzard's tightening the leash. Add-ons are facing more restrictions than ever before, and it's pushed add-ons like WeakAuras and LVUI to aim to discontinue retail support once the pre-patch drops. WeakAuras wasn't just another add-on. It was the backbone of most class HUDs. Blizzard's trying to fill that gap with the Cooldown Manager, but honestly, it feels like they missed why HUDs became so important in the first place. HUDs weren't just condensing an action bar, they allowed for an extremely customizable display of information, and beyond that, they gave players freedom. You could place icons exactly where you wanted them, change icons, add glows, edit load conditions, swap fonts, etc. Whatever worked best for you as the player. My preference has always been to have core rotational abilities and cooldowns in the center of my screen, with dynamic progress bars below for critical buffs. For rotational abilities, I have them set to display a few seconds before they become available. The Cooldown Manager, it just can't do that. Right now, it is 100% a glorified action bar. It's a nice idea, but limited execution. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. There are some wins here. First and foremost is usability. The Cooldown Manager is incredibly easy to set up. You pick your spells, you reorder them, and then you're done. Second, it works right out of the box. If you're trying a new class or alt, it's functional immediately. You don't have to worry about a WeakAuras import. You don't have to search through WAGO. You don't really even have to look at a guide. You just sort the abilities as you want. And third, it's standardized. Everyone is working with the same toolset, and that helps balance and clarity. But let's be real, WeakAuras was also available to everyone. It just wasn't baked in. Here's where the cracks start to show. Blizzard's neglected their UI for almost 2 decades now. Outside of edit mode, most of the real innovation has come from add-on developers. These tools, WeakAuras, LVUI, Plater, have all had 15 plus years of iteration. Blizzard's not going to match that in 4 months. The Cooldown Manager right now, it's a one-size-fits-all, and that's the problem. It handles information one way, Blizzard's way. You can't customize how cooldowns behave. You can't organize multiple bars, and you can't even customize how your glows are going to appear. Blizzard has become increasingly clear that add-ons will not have the ability to provide more information than is available in the base UI, but at this point, they can't even gain access to the information that the base UI has available. For example, I'd love to hide cooldown timers when I already have a stack available. This is how the action bars currently function. Or disable glow effects for certain spells, or even adjust desaturation differently, but none of that's possible. And because this is Blizzard's system, we're fully dependent on them for fixes and updates. If something breaks or a feature is missing, you wait. No community patch, no WeakAuras edit, just waiting. And there's still no integrated resource bar. It hasn't even been announced. That's a major problem. A proper HUD isn't just cooldowns. It could be energy, fury, holy power, runes, etc. Blizzard's personal resource display has never been great, and right now, it is a major obstacle to visual clarity. So yeah, there's some potential here, but potential does not help when the foundation's still shaky. So how do we give feedback when we're trying to solve for 15 years of development in just 4 months? Let's start with the essential changes. These are the updates Blizzard needs to have in place before this feature goes live. And if they're not, this feature is going to be running into major problems very quickly. The first essential change is a customizable resource bar. As mentioned before, the baseline Blizzard versions, they're often thematic, but they're visually dated. And worse, they're currently locked to your health frame. That is incredibly restrictive. The resource bar needs to be its own component within the Cooldown Manager, with a separate anchor point. Let us move it, let us resize it, and let us make it ours. Blizzard could even include a few pre-made designs. Call them classic, clean, modern, whatever you want. Just have them all selectable from a drop-down. And let's go even further. Give us built-in color customization. If I want my Death Knight runes to be purple instead of red, green, or blue, just let me. I've been able to do it for years. Why not now? Take Holy Power as an example. Blizzard's version looks flavorful, but it's hard to read and is visually inconsistent. Each of the Holy Power icons have a different glyph. I don't need theme in my UI, I need clarity. My resource bar should give me information clearly so I can keep my eyes on the encounter, not my UI. The goal of this is to make things better, not worse. The second essential change is just simply more bars. Right now, the Cooldown Manager only offers 2 types of bars, Essential and Utility. 1 bar for each of them. Quite frankly, that's not enough. Like many others, I organize my UI by intent. Rotational abilities in the center, defensives above my health bar, and utility spells visible, but away from my primary focus. That layout keeps my screen clean and information is grouped logically, but limiting us to just 2 bars forces clutter, and that kills clarity. I don't need all of my abilities in 2 bars in the middle of my screen. I'd be better off moving my action bars up and calling it a day. This tool should be better than that. More bars equals more flexibility. A better approach might be to not categorize essential versus utility at all, and just allow multiple bars to be added and then named by the player. Let players decide where their information belongs. The third essential change is just additional customization within the Cooldown Manager. Sometimes, less is more. Removing noise helps players focus on what matters. It's just playing the game. But some of the current Cooldown Manager visuals are forced and overbearing, and we need options to tone that down. So here's what needs to be customizable. The GCD swipe toggle, by ability. This one's personal. That swirling GCD animation, it makes me nauseous after extended play. I get why some players might want to track it, but for me, I've had it disabled since Warlords of Draenor. Please let us toggle it on or off. The glow effect toggle, per ability. Some spells glow constantly. If everything glows, nothing stands out. The glow effects are also very bold. They need to be reined in a little bit. Yet again, a simple toggle per ability would solve this. The timer buff swirl as well. This thing needs a toggle. It's a cool idea, but redundant if you're already using buff bars or buff icons. Tracking the same information twice just clutters the screen. My personal preference is to have critical buffs in a dedicated buff bar, while keeping the ability icons clean and static. Yet again, just a simple on-off toggle per ability would fix this issue. And speaking of layout, we need the option to center bars, not just orient them left or right. Right now, those limitations make UIs look uneven and clunky. Fix it. Lastly, buffs should be addable to whatever section you want in the tool. Using Paladin as an example, I prefer to put my Divine Purpose proc in my Essential bar, and not a buff or an icon. It's rotational information, and for me, it would belong in my own essential category. The fourth essential change is adding the option for dynamic functionality by bar. The current buff bars are functional but rigid. Buff icons or bars currently sit in a fixed and static position. While some players might prefer that option, I'd argue that most players are used to having some form of dynamic movement with their bar icon. We don't always need a fixed spot for buffs that are in progress bars. Let's free up that space and let's improve visual clarity. This tool is a start, but Blizzard needs to go further. While I've focused on the essentials, there are still a few quality of life features that deserve attention too. I won't spend much time on these, but they'd go a long way in producing a more polished Cooldown Manager tool. Icon padding. The minimum spacing is currently 2. Let us adjust it down to 0. Combat-based opacity. Allowing fading icons when out of combat, or the ability to change the opacity to a customizable value both in and out of combat would be a lovely addition. Change spell or buff icons, just like we can with macros. Some icons are too similar or too low contrast. Sometimes I just don't like the way an icon looks. I've been swapping the new Divine Purpose icon for the Cataclysm one, and it just fits better. I'm used to what it looks like. Let me keep it that way. Desaturation customization. This one's personal preference. I prefer desaturated icons when I don't have resources available, not just when something's on cooldown. Even a dropdown that lets us choose when to desaturate would fix this issue perfectly. More extensive text customization. Let us change the font size and style within the Cooldown Manager. Shouldn't be that big of an ask. In addition, let us hide cooldown timers when you already have charges or stacks of an ability. This is the way the action bars currently function. And honestly, Blizzard, you have great examples all over the internet. Take a look at wago.io, see what people have downloaded, see what they love, and see why they use it. There's no need to reinvent the wheel, just make the Cooldown Manager the wheel everyone wants to use. This topic means a lot to me. UI design isn't just about looks. It's about functionality, clarity, and quite frankly, comfort. I'm really trying to keep an open mind as we move into this new era of WoW, but it's tough. I know Blizzard has the best intentions, but it's hard not to feel a bit disenfranchised. Outside of raiding, UI customization has been one of the core reasons I've played World of Warcraft for so long. I've spent hundreds of hours over the years tweaking, testing, and perfecting my layouts. For me, it's not just utility, it's part of the fun. And now that creative freedom is being reduced to a fraction of what it was. On a more personal note, I did have eye surgery back in 2021. It did improve my vision dramatically, but I still deal with light sensitivity and visual fatigue. If something is too bright or flashy, it can become overwhelming fast. And I know I'm not alone. Many players have far greater accessibility needs than I do, and I worry that without customization, they're being left behind. We've had this level of control for years, and losing it feels like we're being robbed. I know things will evolve through beta and even post-launch, but for the first time, I feel more trepidation than excitement for a new expansion. There's also an add-on gap coming. That's going to be a period when WeakAuras and other add-ons aren't going to function anymore, and the new solutions to replace them just aren't going to be ready. We'll adapt, of course, but it didn't have to be this way. WeakAuras also made a great post on their Patreon. I've linked it below, but one of their main requests was simple: give players access to their own personal combat state. That alone would bridge most of this divide. Players who want to use the Cooldown Manager could, and players who wanted deeper customization could still achieve it. Everyone wins. So where does this leave us? The Cooldown Manager is a good start, but it's not a replacement for WeakAuras. Not even close. And I don't think it should be. Blizzard's goal has been simplifying and unifying the player experience. It's admirable. But if they want this tool to succeed, they need to understand why custom HUDs became the standard in the first place. We need clarity, control, and customization. Let's hope Blizzard listens before midnight. As always, leave your thoughts and comments below. Thanks for talking with me.